saying yo.
Let me just look
but
at.
I'm just threw the SH on it, so it sounds.
Let me just find.
It's a thing that I made.
Princess Mononoke. My boys are cool.
By the way, I wish I could spell this correctly, but I didn't.
Oh,
because
Mononoke, right?
Because I couldn't see. Because I can't see.
Yeah. You can't see with this because the screen is like on one side.
Just generally.
Right there, that's the best scene right there when she was like leaping out of the forest and shit. Best picture of all time.
What the fuck are you talking about?
You missed it. It was like in the previous one, but then you clicked a new one. So the part where she was leaping out of the forest was so majestic, like real shit.
No. This one okay? Because like I'm just looking for a full screen one. It works. You know, doesn't really matter right now, but it works. So, you know.
No one else in this movie matters except for my boy Yaku.
Welcome to AniManga Inc. I'm Brian Swan, joined today with a couple of cool people.
Jet Harris here, and
Phiroth Dragonoid, aka Kevin. I'm just gonna do it right now.
And we're gonna go ahead and talk about a really good, really awesome, I think one of the, if not the best, Studio Ghibli film, Princess Mononoke. We just rewatched it. This is your first time checking it out, right?
Yeah, this is my first time checking it out. I mean, sadly enough, but I'm glad I've seen it. It's better late than never, right?
Of course.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I was telling Kevin this like earlier this week. I hadn't seen Princess Mononoke at all until earlier this week. I'm a huge Studio Ghibli fan. Are you a Studio Ghibli fan at all?
I'm a Studio Ghibli fan. I mean, I'm even one of the lesser Studio Ghibli fans because I started watching Studio Ghibli at Spirited Away.
Yeah, same. Yeah. That was the movie that I didn't get a chance to see in theaters because I was too young to check it out. But I know my dad had brought home a DVD, and that was the one DVD that would play nonstop. It was my favorite movie for a while. That movie really was strong. It showed off how well Studio Ghibli works, and really got me into it. But I had checked out Spirited Away, Nausicaa, Castle in the Sky, Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's Delivery Service. I'd seen countless Studio Ghibli films, but for some reason I'd always pushed off Mononoke. I don't know why, but I always had. And people always recommended and all that stuff, and it was just like...
I was actually quite happy that,
yeah, I mean,
you've seen the movie because I've watched this movie
you've been
tens of hundreds of times.
You've watched it since you were like a kid yourself, right? I mean, you had seen this. You're also a huge Studio Ghibli fan. I mean, what other films have you checked out from Ghibli? Anyway.
Okay, so first off, Princess Mononoke wasn't even the first Studio Ghibli movie I've seen, and it wasn't even Spirited Away either. The first Studio Ghibli movie I've seen was when I was back in New York, and my mom had brought home the DVD Castle in the Sky. So we watched that, and then after that, we just started spreading out watching all these different Studio Ghibli films like Kiki's Delivery Service. Then My Neighbor Totoro, showed up. Then after My Neighbor Totoro, you showed me Nausicaa because I haven't gotten around to that one. Yeah. But that one was a really good one. Mm-hmm. Then there was this other one. It had to do something with the
What's up?
It had to do something with the Earth. I forgot that one, but like.
What's up?
We've seen so many Studio Ghibli movies. It had to.
The Wind Rises, right?
Yeah, The Wind Rises. There we go. Yeah. That.
I've yet to see that one.
It is a very good. It's more of a. It's not nonfiction, but it's definitely one of the closest ones that Studio Ghibli has done that was closer to an actual story of someone's life.
And no, and even more historical ones. I've seen historical ones like the Graveyard of the Fireflies.
Right.
The one where this guy basically had a dream. Well, this is a different one I'm talking about, but this other movie I saw had to do with this guy. Like he has a dream of building planes and stuff.
That's The Wind Rises.
Oh no, that wasn't that one.
What?
No, The Wind Rises had to do with a girl.
No, Wind Rises is a guy that wants to build planes and.
Are you sure?
I am.
The one was the one with the girl.
I am solid because I have the DVD.
Are you sure?
I've seen so many. I've seen so many films.
You have a large.
There.
Yeah, you have a large collection of it because we're all fans of Studio Ghibli. It's
right.
An amazing studio. It's. I think
I know what you're talking about, Kevin.
Yeah.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I realize that Studio Ghibli's worst is still better than Pixar's best.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not a knock on Pixar. It's just that Studio Ghibli is just so good, and like. Yeah, there's just a lot of great films from from Ghibli. What's your? I know we were supposed to talk about Mononoke. Like, what's your like outside of Mononoke and before, or you saw Mononoke first, but outside of Mononoke, what's your general favorite, if you could?
Well, out of all my favorite Studio Ghibli films, outside of this one, because this one's like one of my top, one of the tops. But like, obviously, My Neighbor Totoro, because it's so classic and it's like kid friendly. That and Spirited Away, obviously, because everyone loves Spirited Away.
You can't hate it.
You can't hate it. It's like one of those, this girl's going on a journey to save her parents and stuff like that. But it's like she has to work, so it's not like she's doing all this extra bullshit. No, she's actually working and she's going on a journey. But I like that. There's that. There are actually a lot of good heart-wrenching Studio Ghibli movies that that made you think after you finished watching them.
Right.
And like one of those was like my number 3 or number 4. There's so many of them I just can't think. But
yeah,
right now
you're one of the few people that I know where you have a knowledge of the Miyazaki Studio Ghibli films, but you also have outside knowledge of it, so that aren't Miyazaki films. And I've stayed very close to Miyazaki. What about you? Your favorite over your favorites outside of Mononoke.
See, the thing is, like, I haven't. I mean, I've watched a good. I watched I guess a decent amount of them, but I've only watched like the main ones so far. Like I've seen, of course, Spirited Away. I did see The Castle in the Sky. The Castle in the Sky just like spoke to me.
Yeah.
In ways that I didn't know a Studio Ghibli film could.
I remember The Cat Returns.
There you go,
The Cat Returns, and there was another one that was before The Cat Returns. But yeah, go ahead.
Poco Rosso.
No.
At the same time, I did watch Totoro with Kevin introduced me to Totoro.
Oh,
I knew of the character.
Of course, because you see him everywhere.
Yeah, I was just like, what is this bundle of awesome fluff?
Yeah.
But I would still say for my favorites, Castles in the Sky takes the cake for my favorites. Mm-hmm. Only because of its morals and how it's like it has that imagination factor. It just kicks.
It's yeah. I remember when I did expand my view, because I had for a while had only Spirited Away and Nausicaa. For years, those were the only two that I was able to check out, because those were the only two that I had access to. And then I got a job and I was able to buy more and more Ghibli films. The first one that I got was Castle in the Sky, which is the second film that Ghibli worked on. Such an amazing film. Like I cannot underscore that. The score is amazing. You have this world that the idea of the fact that it's set in this world that's after. Like you said, the imagination is off the scale. I mean, just trying to explain it is insane. But I think that overall, my favorite, I'd have to go on and say, it's not Spirited Away. Spirited Away, I love it. It is, every time I hear the theme, One Summer's Day or Six Stop, for example, those are just pieces of the score. It always brings me back to nostalgia. That film is so nostalgic to me because it's such an important film. But Nausicaa, that was the film where I was at the point where I didn't know that there were other Studio Ghibli films out there. I had just known about Spirited Away, and so when I got to Nausicaa, and I was always so amazed by the story of this woman or this girl that was just trying to find the best in a bad situation, right? And I love the dog fighting of this, and not dog fights, but the aerial combat, of the fact that the animation was so good. It was made in 1986.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Nausicaa is one of the most amazing films. And then the Toxic Jungle, what he was talking about with the environment. Right. There are so many things that I love about Nausicaa, and that also was so nostalgic to me that I'd have to say Nausicaa easily takes the cake. And you guys obviously love Castle in the Sky.
I've also watched Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind.
Yeah,
like that. But it's like I've watched all those Studio Ghibli movies, but what always caught me the most was how the movies begin, before, and here's the cool thing, right? Before My Neighbor Totoro, they didn't really have a mascot at the very beginning. They just had like words.
Right.
They had like words, but then because
it would be
My Totoro was such a big hit, My Totoro became the beginning of every movie. Like you would see his picture, and then boom, the movie would start.
That's what got me.
And I was just like, wow, the fact that it translated so well over here that they just. It's like, okay, yeah, that's a good guy. We'll use him as our mascot. Boom, and Totoro became the mascot.
Yeah, for years I had no idea who Totoro was. I had no idea because I had seen I had seen Spirited Away, but I didn't know what that character was. I was like, okay, that's weird, but okay, right. Whatever. I think one we haven't mentioned yet is Ponyo, and it came out. That was
another one I'm yet to see, but I've heard so much great things.
Such a colorful, beautiful film.
It's a really good movie.
It was the only film that I've seen so far and gotten the chance to see in theaters from Studio Ghibli. The only Hayao Miyazaki film I got to see in theaters. But beautiful film, so bright, so colorful. The animation is as good as any Ghibli film. That was the one where I don't remember the score as much as the other ones because I paid so much attention to the visuals, and the story is just amazing. The girl is funny and cute and charming.
Yeah.
The story out of the water. There are also many snuffs that not to go off on a tangent, but in 2013, when The Wind Rises was in the Academy Award running, it lost to Frozen.
Right, yeah.
I was so pissed. I was like, what? Frozen?
Which one was funny though? Totoro still beats Frozen. Because in my family, right? Mm-hmm. Everyone, we've been, growing on Studio Ghibli, and even my sister, like my new baby sister, who's like new, she still prefers My Neighbor Totoro over Frozen. So she was like, oh yeah, let it go. But then as soon as Totoro started on, she's like, hey, let's go.
She loves it. Yeah.
Go. I'm just like, yeah, she loves Totoro a lot better. And like, there's just the factor, Plus, there's a little kid in there that she can relate to. So
right.
I'm just like, yeah, the factor of the cuteness and the friendliness, not all that extra drama that Frozen was giving. But I'm just like,
exactly. Yeah, I think
she's like one of those odd ones. It's like, oh, what do you like? I like Frozen. Oh, I like Totoro.
Yeah.
What the fuck is that?
Wait, they don't know. Yeah, that's the sad thing about it. Like, there's such a large population that doesn't have any idea about it, about Studio Ghibli films, and that's unfortunate. But if you really want a great family film, a great lineup of family films, like we have Ponyo, you have Totoro, and then you can, of course, by the time the kid gets older and older and older, you can introduce these more advanced films that they won't understand yet, right?
Until later.
Like Nausicaa is not a film that I would. I've shown my little sister Nausicaa because it's not as violent as Mononoke.
Yeah.
But I know she doesn't understand some of the things that Nausicaa has, but it's still a great film.
Right.
In the coming years, she'll understand a little bit more about Nausicaa, and that's great because I love the fact and I love the way that they set up these films so well. And the hidden meanings between inside a lot of these things, but let's go into what we were actually talking about.
I have another thing. I have another thing I want to say in that. The thing is that with me, I started and kind of ties in how I my first experiences with Ghibli, and the thing is, for most otakus that I've seen, I started out just like anybody, at least any other otakus out there, with Toonami. And
right.
Of course.
And Toonami is just like the king of all things, pretty much all things mainstream in America.
Right.
If you
know
about anime, you've hit Toonami at some point.
Yeah.
So when one of those days I was hitting Toonami on the 6th, they just decided, okay, we might go to
What the show?
They showed Spirited Away.
Yeah, they did.
So they showed Spirited Away for the first time.
Right.
And at first, when I was watching it, I was looking at how great it was. But at the same time, at very first, I'm going to be honest with you, the story I could not get until the very end.
Of course.
Once I realized you know that the dude. I don't want to throw that many spoilers about the show. You should probably go watch. You just watch
totally.
it.
If you haven't seen it, you might as well go watch it.
You might as well go watch it right now.
I mean, there are too many reasons why not. I mean, this got the Academy Award for best picture animated feature. I can't recall what the award is. It's the highest grossing Japanese film of all time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even Cartoon Network has aired it a few times.
Yeah,
I aired it times. Not just on Toonami, but a good few times.
Yeah.
Right. I remember. Actually, you know what's funny? I remember Spirit Away. I would watch it, but my genius self, because I'm an idiot kid, I accidentally, almost every time, fall asleep when it gets to the lull part where they take the train. Once they get off the train and it goes into a slow part, slow lull, I'd fall asleep. So I would never see the resolution of the story, and I'd always be afraid of No Face. Because I never get to I never see when I was.
I'm gonna tell you about No Face for a second.
But I'm
gonna let you finish.
Yeah. But
my man.
Thing is with anime and how it started off, like you're gonna get like, you know, the start offs. You gotta know, if you've seen Toonami, you have to have known about Ghibli, because especially if you back in the day like me, I remember back in the day where Toonami, where Tom was a fat ass.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you don't remember, you look at Tom now, he did not look like that.
Yeah, all the time, man.
All the time. He always had a new body,
right.
Always updating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he was like a robot. You know, he always updates.
He was big, fat, bulky as shit. I was there when they did the little side skits where you had to go online and battle it out to help the show. I was just like, I was down by the 6 online on the computer. But yeah, it introduced me to Ghibli. The second time I was like, okay. I didn't knew it was called what the studio was called. I was just like, that was my first time experiencing Ghibli. The second time I, you know, pretty much just truly discovered it was actually at my elementary school.
Oh really? That's really cool. That's really cool.
So, this librarian, I forget her name, but she is really awesome. She knew that I was like a huge anime fan, so she wanted to show me. And she saw how the students teased me about it, but she wanted to show all the students the world that I see.
Right.
And then show me a little bit more alongside of that. So what she did was, when it was time for everybody to go to the library for that day of the week, we went into the library. She was just like, okay, I'm going to show you a whole bunch of Studio Ghibli movies.
Oh my gosh.
So she threw on Studio Ghibli. That's when I saw Spirited Away for the second time, Nausicaa, and The Castle in the Sky.
Awesome.
And I was just like, this is so amazing. I'm watching anime here in my own library, and they're seeing and they're reacting.
And they're understanding the greatness of what.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always great to when you're able to expand on someone else, like not expand, but like when another person is able to see how far anime can actually reach.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially when it comes to a Studio Ghibli movie, because there's so many different ways people can react to Ghibli, and mostly they're positive. Sometimes they're very heartfelt and very personal.
The best part about that experience was that after that, half of those kids that you know the TV, it was like, this is the world that you see every day. I'm just like, this is the world that I see every day. When I wake up in the morning, I'm thinking about how awesome it would be if fill in a blank.
Exactly. Right, but I'm just like, even as a young kid, I was so captivated by how Studio Ghibli, like, even though they were like old fashioned, their art style, how they animate everything, I was always fascinated, and that was one of the reasons why I started drawing when I was young, because it was just so lifelike. It pulls you into the story, and that's where the real heart wrenching gets at, because like there could be like, they can put on a sad movie, you feel the sadness. They can put on a happy movie, you can feel the joy, you can feel the emotions that they put into the Studio Ghibli movie that you wouldn't normally get sometimes from another movie if you weren't paying attention.
One of the very great things that you get to know, that you pay, if you ever pay attention to it, and we've all paid attention to it, is the fact that Hayao Miyazaki, particularly with his films, has a method in making his in storytelling that is one of the greatest things that we've ever seen. And then you add that in with the music from Joe Hisaishi, all the score for the score for Nausicaa, the score for Castle in the Sky, the score for Spirited Away, the score for Princess Mononoke, the score for so many films that we care and love. Like, these films are so beautiful and so attractive, but one thing that we always sort of forget is, and this is all over, like, almost every single genre of TV and entertainment, is music plays such a big part.
Right.
And I listen to some Studio Ghibli music almost every single day because it's just such an attractive piece. It's so amazing. But you said something. You said animation.
Yeah. Because
I look back. I'm sorry. I don't want to cut you off. Like, I look back at Nausicaa, and that's still one when I did my anime recommendation video. I had to think to myself, okay, some people don't think that this is going to be the most beautiful film because it's not. It's aged. But it's aged to me like fine wine. It's a beautiful film. It's one of the most beautiful films to me, but I have to acknowledge that, yeah, it's old. But it's beautiful. And then you look at what they've done in 20 years. You look at what they've done from 86 to 96 with Mononoke, and then you see what they did with Spirited Away, and it's...
Right, and then even in Ponyo, you can still notice, even if you didn't know what Studio Ghibli was, you've seen the older films and you're just like, whoa, this is that company, because the art style, the art style that catches you. And for me, that was the way how I recognize most of the Studio Ghibli movies, because it's the art style that pulls me in. The art style just okay, boom, this is a Ghibli movie. I search it up, it is a Ghibli movie. Right. Now here's a fun fact about Princess Mononoke. What's up? The original story that he was going for, because I had the special DVD, and how they show you the background of how it was made. Yeah. He was going for a completely different story. I forgot what he was going for. Yeah, I forgot what he was going for, but he had ended up just spitballing it. He had ended up while he was just drawing it, he was just freelancing the whole thing.
Well, that's what he does, right? He goes and he just keeps pushing. He doesn't they don't really write it out all that much. They just kind of go with the wind with it. They just keep that, and that's so crazy. They just write stuff. Right? They don't even script it.
He's just okay. They had a script plan. They had a script plan, but then they're okay, we had a script plan. This is not working. Scrap it. We're just gonna throw some stuff in there. Oh, that fits. Keep it. Keep it going. Keep it. They know it's even though the same thing with Spirited Away. Some of the and the cool thing is most of the movies that he does are inspired. That one scene in Spirited Away where they had in the bathhouse where they had cleaned the spoilers, sorry, where they had cleaned the spirit, the forest spirit, where they had cleaned it out. That actually happened in real life, where him and his friends were just okay. They were tired of people throwing junk into their natural rivers, so they went and cleaned it out. But when they cleaned it out, there was a spike stuck in there, like how it was in the movie. And they got the rope and they were pulling it. Him and his friends, they were pulling it out, and there was just so much gunk and sludge and stuff that he was he imagined that the forest spirit would be thank you because you cleared out all this stuff, and that's what he put in the movie. And the forest spirit obviously said thank you and gave him gold and all this other stuff. I'm just most of the stuff that he writes down is inspired. Also the beginning of Spirited Away, it's a kid, she's moving to a whole new place.
That's such a good introduction. That always is such one of my favorite introductions.
Right, she's I don't want to move, I don't want to make new friends. We've all been there. Down. We've all been there. It's something that relates. And this is what Studio Ghibli does. Even if you're from a different country, different language,
different school,
it relates to everyone. It pulls you in, and that's one of the main reasons why Studio Ghibli is just so iconic for you.
The thing, nail on that right there.
It's just so iconic. No other. It doesn't matter what animator, who you are, who do you think you are. You can't top Studio Ghibli, especially for me.
I bet you.
I wouldn't say that you can't top Studio Ghibli. I would say that right now they've done it, and they've set the watermark. I think that there are many people that are inspired by what Studio Ghibli has done.
I bet you.
I always hope that there will be someone better to pass on. We saw if you've seen The Girl That Left Their Time, that's a beautiful film. And then that same director made Wolf Children. These are beautiful films. They're on par with Ghibli. They're beautiful films. They're attractive. They have their own animation style. I love when you have these great films and they're still pushing. They're different directors, and that's what's great.
Right.
The beauty of it is it's just like so amazing, because here's what I want to say. I want to say something along the lines of, I bet you, if someone decided that they wanted to draw at least something close to that art style, if they drew something as simple as an eye, and then showed it off to people, that you will be fully immersed into that world that he just drew.
Right, just for that particular eye.
Just that
one. Yeah.
Just one. That's kind of realistic how you drew that there, and like the iris and everything. Like they captured the image of the eye. It's not that the fact that they're getting ready to do everything else. I mean, they are getting ready to do everything else, but just the fact that they had so much detail and so much, different shadings and stuff into that one eye. We're just like, wow.
Next thing I want to get into is just like, the movie itself, Princess Mononoke.
Yeah.
So
the music especially.
The music is really cool, and I had to be honest with you, I really enjoyed watching it with both of you guys, especially for the first time. Like really, I haven't.
I'm so glad you got to check it out. I mean,
yeah.
Normally, when I experience a Ghibli movie, it's just like either, dead silence, or I'm not really, or I'm at home by myself.
Right.
Because when I saw Spirit of the Way, I was with my brother, but I'm not sure. My memory doesn't.
Of course, yeah. You picture it, but you're not. Yeah.
I felt like it was just me. In
the zone. That's right.
In my own. But when I got experience with other people, it just was so made it all much more amazing. Now the art style was incredibly awesome.
Yeah.
The music, I heard the music. That music was really good, and they had even some scenes where it's just like it didn't really feel like they needed story to that one scene.
They just pause. That's
pause for a moment.
Yeah.
Just pause for a moment. Take a step back
and look at it.
And look at this beauty.
Breathe it in.
Hayao Miyazaki particularly did this with a lot of his films, and he does this very beautifully, where you just have these, and he did this really well with The Wind Rises. I know we're talking about Mononoke, but he did this really well with The Wind Rises because that was his final film. I just wanted to go back to that because that was the peak, like the peak of of Ghibli's animation was The Wind Rises right now.
Yeah.
Even that is more beautiful than this. And this is beautiful. This is like insane, but just like, not to say, so I want to make sure I'm not going to alienate people and say, oh, Mononoke is worse than when I'm just saying that what he does best is when he has a beautiful scene, like something like that's nature or a particular person, he lets it just draw out for a little long, and you can just stare at the facial features, or stare at a scene of like a mountain, or stare at rain, like just these panning scenes.
Just take in the beauty of these panoramic scenes.
Yeah.
And
but the music again, like Joe Hisaishi does these amazing pieces that are some of the best music consistently in any studio. Like like no other studio has a consistent amazing score lineup like Ghibli does. And again, we see this beautiful mix of, it's kind of like, you can't really I can't describe the score. It swells into you.
Art story.
Where Pixar uses music to help a scene.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Ghibli features music and just
it just amplifies it.
It just amplifies. It's a part of the experience.
Yes. So basically,
and I can't explain the music. It's just so beautiful.
It's the story plus the artwork plus the music that just
blends
the
together.
perfect trio that just makes everything in that movie feel like you're just like
you walk out of the theater, wow. You walk out of watching this movie, and
you're just like awe-inspired. You're just like, well, wow.
Yeah.
So just like, I gotta do something. Because like most of the times when I watch this movie, when I watch like Studio Ghibli movies in general, I'm just like, man, I gotta start drawing again. I gotta start doing this because I really want to animate this. Like I really want to animate something close to this, but I also want to make stories that are generally just as good as a Studio Ghibli movie. I
Right.
mean, like, you know, I just want that sort of heart-wrenching.
It's just like
feel that everyone's like, okay, I get where he's coming from. I've been there too. That sort of thing. I want everyone like it's like, okay, I can relate to this guy.
Anybody that wants to get into animation, it's just like, okay, I've seen cartoons. Okay, that's fine. I've seen anime. Okay, that's fine too. This is where I want to be.
I want to be there. It's just so daunting as well. Where it's like I look at Studio Ghibli and like I want to get into animation. I look at Studio Ghibli and I sometimes think I want to be there, but if I ever do, it's like there's a lot of work that goes in. These are multiple teams. These are many different people. They have a color palette that they use particularly for these films. They have a score, and it's just so far above what anything could ever be.
Yo, like seriously.
It's a beautiful art. Yeah, I mean that's what it's art. That's what I said in one of the videos. I said it's Studio Ghibli is not you're not coming from a film. You're coming out of an art experience almost because like it's just so beautiful and it works together so well that it doesn't even feel like a movie. It just feels like you're looking at a painting that's in like movie, which is art, which is a movie, which is above. Like, it is a cartoon, which is anime. So I can't
like
say
a
it's a
painting that's telling you a good slice of life right now. You're just listening.
But I mean, Mononoke.
The movie is good.
It's
a lot of times when sometimes I would get upset. I would listen to Yoshi Yamada, and I was just like his music from like it doesn't matter which Studio Ghibli film I pull the music from, it's so calming. It just makes everything like feels better, and like, you know, it's just the music in general. It's just like it gives you that feel. It gives you that nice calming factor. You're just like, okay, you're having a rough day. Put on some My Totoro, music from Yoshi Yamada, and you're just like, whoa.
No, not even that. I agree with you. There are some calming points, but I love whenever they turn it up. I love like in Nausicaa. There's a point in particular Requiem where the music just it just like pumps up and you have all these instruments going all at once, and it's so beautiful. I love
the orchestra. I love how they
I love particularly listening to live shows because that's where you really get to feel the orchestra. You get to feel everyone all at once going in. That's what she said. But I when it comes down to Mononoke,
it's such a good film.
I love the way that they introduce our main character, and you would think that you'd go in because when you talk about Nausicaa or Castle in the Sky or anyone else, or most of the other movies before that time era, you were basically getting the character that was centered in the film, right? You don't see Mononoke until almost an hour, almost like maybe 30 minutes.
Right,
it's worth the wait, and the way that they present her is very well, and the way that they present the story is very well, and the way that it's very surprising because you navigate with this character that you connect with, and then you connect with everyone else, and you understand why the ironworkers are doing this, and why there's a community there, and why you believe in this person,
right?
And you understand the forest, and you understand you understand different situations that are going on.
It feels like here's what it felt like to me. Like the way it felt like to me was that you weren't watching. I mean, clearly, like the main characters were the prince and Mononoke, but like it wasn't as if that you were following the prince, meeting up Mononoke. It felt like I was the prince.
Yes.
Seeing Mononoke.
Exactly.
And learning, and pretty much learning as he's learning.
Exactly.
About the entire situation. Mm-hmm. And he sees it a little bit how we see it even on the outside.
Right.
And
with your
how he deals with the situations is completely amazing.
Exactly.
Right, and especially once he got he had got the strength. The extra strength, even though it was basically like a Naruto's curse mark before Naruto, it was basically he had a curse mark from a dying god that turned demon, and it was like, which kind of struck me, like how if a god feels rage and hate, it turns them into a demon. And I was just like, wow, damn, that's messed up.
Right,
That's freaking messed up. And then like, as while they're feeling that hate and anger, they're also feeling pain and agony because they're actually dying from it. So I'm just like, wow, they cannot get upset, otherwise it'll literally kill them. So I'm just like, well, shit.
Exactly.
It's like,
remember the part like Mononoke is like it has a really like really freaking awesome action in it as well. Like, dude, let's just spoil it real quick. I still can't get over the fact that then wolf freaking like that dude's head. Like,
just like he felt like he
fell off
he fell off his deer, which was like that deer is like I'm not kidding. That deer is like part horse or something. Like best deer ever.
Yeah.
But
not even a split second. That wolf just straight.
Right. He came like he was following them, and then the guy fell because the guy was a stranger, and he ignored the fact that his sister, even though his sister is human, was like, oh, he helped my sister, but he's still a stranger, so I'm just gonna fuck him up. So he came, and I was like, well, shit.
Right. I mean, when it comes down to action, you talked about action before. In the storytelling method, particularly, just a side note, the storytelling method we see that they utilize this again in Spirited Away. Like you're going through this story with this girl that is learning as she goes, and they did a good job with Spirited Away as well. But you talk about action. I love the action. I love the scenes in which you have these close combat scenes where you have Mononoke going up against, I call her the Iron Maiden because I can't remember her name, but you have these close combat scenes and they're just like going at it, and it's so tense and you can feel it. And that was just for a couple seconds, and it's still very beautiful and very vibrant. I don't think that Mononoke has the best action scenes of a Ghibli film, because I think that you have different films that do it. Where they're centered more on action, but this is not a film that really centers itself on action continuously. It's a completely different beast, right? So, yeah, Mononoke
Speaking of beast, wolves, giant wolves,
giant wolves,
right? And I finally remembered one of my other favorite Studio Ghibli films. Another one of my favorite Studio Ghibli film was
Toy Story is not a Studio Ghibli film.
No, The Secret. And it's funny because the size of the characters kind of brings it to that Toy Story feel, but it's not that. So it's The Secret Life of Arietti.
Oh, okay.
That's another good Studio Ghibli movie. It's like where you follow these tiny folk,
right?
But then they call the big humans like the stompers,
right?
And they're like the borrowers, where they only take what they need. And not they don't take everything, because if you take everything, then the stompers will notice.
Of course.
So you have to only take what you need, and stuff that they would not notice and they would not care if they lost. Mm-hmm. And it's a good movie because there's this one boy who goes there and he's sick. So basically he has to get surgery. His rich mom sent him away to his grandmother's house where the mom grew up, and because his mom always used to tell him a story about how her granddad made this little house for them and stuff, and he always wanted to see them. He wasn't shocked like, oh my god, I see you on no, he's like, don't be afraid, I won't hurt you and stuff like that. And then they gained a bond, even though she was afraid at first, and she's just like, look man, my family, we feel like we're the last ones left. Could you just leave us alone? He's like, I'm not here to hurt you, I'm here to help you and stuff. Right. It was a really good movie, and you both feel for the characters that they start you off with, but you also feel for the guy because he's not like everyone else. And there are some characters who are like, okay, I know they're out there, but they're the spiteful kind of okay, I'm going to trap them and make money off of people seeing them. Whereas he's
not that, yeah.
Right, he's not that at all. He's just no, just you're crazy. And it made it look crazy towards the end too. I was just like, wow.
Right.
But not too much spoilers from that. That's really one of the good movies is The Secret Life of Arietti. Mm-hmm. I encourage you guys to go watch that movie.
I hadn't heard of it before, but
really?
I hadn't. No, because again, I was one of the few that I'm not one of the few, but I'm locked into Miyazaki's lineup. like that was the line that I've been solid, and it sounds like that one's not because I just hadn't heard it before. I pretty much covered almost all of Miyazaki's work, but yeah, Mononoke is pretty much I think the height of Miyazaki, and I think that almost every single one of his films is the height of himself. I can't really say that this is the height, but it is like it's one of the best storytelling, one of the best storytelling styles, one of the best animated. There are very few things that, and there's nothing really that can ever say, oh well, I can. They should do no.
No, they should do this, and like you can't really say that because it's just so good that you can't really critique it. Like you can't say there's something wrong with it when there's really.
It's not like Cinema Sins is gonna come like everything wrong with.
If they do that,
everything right. Here's what they would do. Everything right with.
Everything right with this movie. See, like I mean, if he was to do that. Then you know he likes.
Even if it gets one sin, it would just do like -1 sin, -1 sin, -1. It's like oh, it starts out. It's
in some movies, like in some sins, where he's like, you know, we're just gonna subtract a sin, and then like he's like, okay, we're at a sin, but because the scene was so beautiful and how well it was written,
and he would have
subtract a sin.
He would have to do that for every single scene in this movie,
because he can't add a sin, and it's like
except for that scene where she falls back and hits herself on the rock, she'd have a broken back.
Right, that's like the one only part, but it's like ding. But then it's like, oh snap, the mom died, but then she came back with that black sludge, touched her, and bit the lady's arm off.
No,
we're just gonna remove the sin for that one because that's so freaking awesome.
This film is also, like I said before, a lot more. I was very surprised because again, I come off a lot of films from Ghibli. They'd never really been not gory. Well, yeah, not gory. But this one,
graphic.
Like. When like he shoots the arrow and he knocks the guy's hands off, I'm like, whoa!
Right, the arrow comes.
What are you? Whoa!
Like he was aiming for the
sword.
He was aiming for the swords, but like it had struck through both the hands.
Right.
And you think, okay, he has struck the hands. It's just gonna go through the hands. It's gonna keep the guy's hands together. No.
So much power that pulls.
Because of the strength that he got from his curse mark, the arms are like ripped off, and even headshots were more graphic. I'm just like, whoa! In a normal arrow's headshot,
from
it would stick. It would stick in the head.
It had like incredible accuracy.
Incredible accuracy. There was that one toward the end where it's like, don't go away, and like they kept going, and he shot one arrow and like got one guy, and the other one's just like, nope.
Right, because like the guy shot an arrow at him. And because of the curse mark, he's like, okay, boom, grabbed it out of the air, use that very same arrow, shoot it back, knock the guy's brains off. I'm just like,
yeah.
But well, and then his friend, he's like, look guys, so he's like, I don't want to fight you. They go and do something, he shot the other guy, and the other guy's like, okay, I'm going to listen to him, he doesn't want to fight, I'm going. That was like a really good point. Like, I don't feel like losing my life.
Right.
I'm going home to my wife and kids. Fuck this shit. I'm just like, you know, this movie alone is just like, wow,
so much to
like so much Studio Ghibli movies in general. Like the topic of this AniManga Inc. podcast.
I don't know.
It was supposed to be about this movie, but
it's gonna be Studio Ghibli.
It's all about Studio Ghibli. That's basically what it is now. It's like
today we're talking about. We can't just talk about a specific Studio Ghibli. We're gonna talk about Ghibli.
Yeah.
We had to talk about it.
I'm gonna bring up Kiki's Delivery Service. The Cat Returns.
Yeah, I mean, like Kiki's Delivery Service is such a fun. Kiki, I had always seen because that was one of the trailers in Spirited Away whenever I'd watch it, but I never got a chance to see it. I got it on VHS from a thrift store for less than $5.
Right.
But like, because usually they're like,
that price.
Yeah, because they're $19.99, they're $29.99 in some of these places.
There are some really high prices for like even a collection.
Yeah.
And
I would buy the collection. I would buy the collection. I would if it had the logo on it and it was like, sign me up.
Right.
But it's just expensive.
Right.
But yeah.
Unless you had bought it at the time, like earlier when my mom did, because that's why we have like so many good movies.
Right. I mean,
stuff.
it's and Kiki is a good one. I can't say it wasn't. It's very interesting. It's definitely one that I would let my sister. I like whenever I get a movie, I let my sister watch it because like
more relatable.
Except for like the ones that like I don't.
Right, there are actually a good some.
Maybe she's like 11.
Maybe yeah.
They're like a good some Studio Ghibli movies that are targeted towards the male audience. Some targeted toward towards the female audience. But it doesn't matter who it's targeted towards.
I don't think that they are targeted.
Well, some movies,
they are. You're right.
Some movies are, but it doesn't really matter anyway.
Yeah, Miyazaki does say
anyone watches it because it's so good. Yeah. It doesn't like, oh, this is intended for a girl movie? I don't give a shit. I'm a guy. I'm going to watch this movie. Oh my god, this movie was awesome. Oh, this movie was intended for a guy? I don't care. Oh, snap, this movie was so awesome, Like, it doesn't really matter. Man, man, this movie's supposed to make me cry. I'm hardcore. They come out with this movie. Why did they do that? The boy lost his mom and his sister. Oh no! Like you're just like it makes
you're really affected,
right? It's just like you can't
and but
bullshit, man. You see it? You can be the hardest man on the six.
But whenever you see The Grave of the Fireflies, you're just gonna cry. You're gonna cry, and you're just like. I challenge you guys.
Wait.
I'll watch
I'm gonna be honest with you completely. I'm gonna be completely honest with you.
What?
And I want you guys, YouTube.
You watched it with me. You was at my house. You watched it.
What?
Grave of the Fireflies.
I did.
Yes, you did. And it had to do with a boy. Their family was rich, but because of what was going on in the situation, they couldn't use the money, and like all this stuff going on. The mom kind of burned to death, and all the extra stuff.
Thanks for spoilers.
Sorry,
I want to watch it.
Anyway,
don't worry. You're gonna see the movie. The movie's really good. But yeah, you watched the movie with me, right? And at one point, you didn't cry, but you was just like, damn. You're like, damn. It was like that. So I'm just like, man, this movie. I mean, I did cry.
Well, I mean,
my little sister was just bawling.
I mean,
like she couldn't stop. Like she wasn't like crying, but like the tears would not stop from this movie because it was.
I wouldn't say. Look, I'm not going to say that a particular scene in another movie is going to be as effective, as strong as that.
Right.
Because I haven't seen the movie yet, but I get that same feel. I get that same feeling every time when I'm watching Nausicaa and she's like, you guys, and she's like, when the Tamikian ship lands and she goes over and she's like, and they're like, oh, we're setting traps over at the Valley of the Wind, and. We targeted the capital because we're trying to get the worst thing. We're trying to get that massive creature
thing to go that way.
And she's like, you guys killed your own people for this shit.
Right,
you guys fucking killed your own people for this shit.
Right.
Like I always thought that as a really strong scene. And also the scene where it's like I get moments like that where. Just in Nausicaa particularly, like, and Spirited Away too. Like I think almost every single movie, if you really are invested in the characters, you will find love and find some sort of emotion in a gut punch. But I think Children of Fireflies. I've heard that multiple times.
Yeah,
that is a very emotional
Graveyard
movie.
of the Fireflies
and,
is like one of those.
Not Children of Fireflies. I don't know why I said Children.
Yeah, but anyway,
you're gonna watch it. You're gonna get.
But anyway,
feel what I'm feeling.
I mean, even though it's like I know there's like some fucked up moments. I don't know. I'm gonna have some moments where I'm just like, damn, that shit was fucked up. But I did not cry watching Frozen.
Well,
how can you cry watching Frozen?
There was a lot of people that
average Disney movie.
There's a lot of people that was like, oh, if you don't, you're a horrible person if you don't cry. Don't cry.
If you don't cry watching Frozen, I'm just like, okay, look.
All right, well, we're not gonna do the Disney hate. No, we're not doing the super mega Disney hate.
But
no,
at the
of
same
course,
time,
we're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'm just
but
like,
at the same time, I'm just
because,
like, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It's just like, yeah, you can. I still felt the moment.
Yeah,
but I'm not gonna.
But let's be honest.
Ghibli hits it harder.
Yeah, no, but let's be honest here. Walt Disney Pictures has not done a strong emotional movie in. I mean, we got Zootopia. I don't know Zootopia. Yeah, Zootopia
was it too emotional?
Had strong emotional points in it, but I'm saying that before Frozen, they didn't have a strong emotional movie in years. So I mean, they just don't do it as well as or they don't do it as strongly and consistently as Ghibli. But I'm going to our tour. We're going to wrap this podcast up. But I want to ask a question. This is a question. This is something that for some reason lots of people keep talking about and wanting. I don't know why, but they keep saying, "What would be the best live action adaptation of a Ghibli film?" What would be the best live action adaptation? What would work? And that's the main thing. So I ask you guys.
All right, I'm gonna break it down here, right here. I'm gonna break it down right here because I'm about to take this jacket off. I have fucking. It's the 29th, dude. It's like couple days away from Halloween. Fucking niggas are dressing up. You need the best, absolutely positively the best cosplay ever made. You need to get the best freaking actors.
Of course,
it has to be on point with the actual movie. It cannot be no cuts.
What movie?
Because like any movie,
I'm asking you guys, what movie though?
If I wanted a live action movie.
Because I'm crossing out in my mind that there are movies that just cannot work because the CG is too ridiculous. You can't do Ponyo because the CG would be too ridiculous. You can't even do something like Spirited Away because it just would feel unnatural. Making a CG Bathouse and then making a CG this and that.
And the dragon.
Having a live action character like that, and then like you said, the dragon, it just doesn't. You can already sense the odd and weird feelings that you get. But I think the easy one out is The Wind Rises because it's already close to nonfiction, and you're not things aren't really going all that far off of what actually happened in reality. There are things that were deviated, but you can generally make a live action movie out of that. But I think that if you but you can't. Oh my god!
That's what I just said. I said that would be a really good one.
I didn't think about that.
That would be a really good one. I just said that. I really just said that.
That would be a really good one.
Right. A really good,
imagine the fucking
the graphics to that. I'm just like, man, and then you're just like, whoa.
I mean, Howl's Moving Castle could also be a really good if they just make it a contained good film, it could work. You don't need because it could just be as imaginative as Castle in the Sky.
Right.
Because if you have a good actor that's doing Howl correctly,
right,
it could work. The only thing that would be weird is the fire. I think that the fire could be fine, but that's the only thing that's really a requirement of the CG, other than the ghouls that are trying to catch them.
Right.
I was looking more at what was the one I had?
The ones where it wouldn't work as a live action movie.
I look at Mononoke only because of the fact that. If you have you guys seen the Jungle Book or have you seen?
I've seen the Jungle Book.
I think that
I haven't seen the new one.
I mean, the new if you've seen the trailers for it, they have this new CG technology where it looks so realistic.
It is
that it's one to one almost looks as realistic as an actual animal. Right. And apparently the only thing that was real about the movie was the boy that was in it.
Right.
And so if they had the characters, that would be the only thing they could not whitewash. They have to be exact on this because there's too many people that love these Ghibli movies to deviate from it. And I think that if they have the right actors, it could work because if you have the animals work right and you have the worlds, that could work. It could work perfectly.
Right, the movie,
but it could be very cringeworthy too. I think that there is trouble.
Yeah, there are scenes in the movie
for example, the deer god. When he rises, that could be really bad CG.
Right.
So I think
especially where the lady shot his head.
I think Castle in the Sky, like you said, is a very solid movie. I think Howl's Moving Castle could work. I'm looking at Nausicaa, not just because I'm a huge Nausicaa fan. Well, yeah, because I'm a huge Nausicaa fan, but because I'd love to see the aerial combat. I'd love to see someone make an actual live action glider version of what she had.
I feel like they really
an ohm. Imagine a fucking
really
ohm.
Could. Right.
The ohms would be fucking scary as shit.
Right.
This would be so terrifying. Mm-hmm. Right. And just set in a post-apocalyptic world where there's an acid lake and there's a toxic jungle and there are many things, but Castle in the Sky, so imaginative, that could go so beautifully well. I am pitching. I'm more you're locked in. Castle in the Sky, beautiful guys. It is 5 minutes to 3 a.m. in the morning here. Thanks for this, guys. This is just a studio. We've talked about Studio Ghibli, I guess. Right. And you guys are awesome. Mm-hmm. Enjoy the day with Phiroth aka Phiroth Dragonoid. Find him on YouTube. Oh my god,
Jet Harris.
Find him on YouTube. My brain is so.
Find me on YouTube. Facebook, whatever.
And myself at Athemocracy, guys. Thanks for listening. I'm Brian Swan. This has been AniManga Inc. And stay tuned for more.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yo.
Dude,
thanks.
Let me tell you something.